So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Rich Clark, Guide to the Right Path, and I'm going to carry on a series about essential oils. And I'm now going to go into more about the spiritual connotations of essential oils. And I've got 27 different essential oils I'm going to be talking about. There's a lot more coming as well. I'm going to start with the first, which is jasmine. So, jasmine essential oil and the flowers, I'm going to talk about both, and I'm going to talk about a few things with that. So, jasmine is uplifting and highly prized by perfumery. It derives from the Persian word Yasmin, which means fragrant flower. So now it's mainly native to India and the southeastern Asian region. And just to let you know, there's three types of jasmine flowers exist and specific to areas and more. So the first one is called J. auriculatum, or auriculatum, which is native to South India and adapted to regions with high temperature and above average rainfall. The next is called J. grandiflorum, which is native to northern Iran, Afghanistan, and Kashmir. Now, Kashmir is obviously because Kashmir is in between Pakistan and top of India, and it's adapted to milder climates of the Mediterranean. Now, Neal's yard essential is from Egypt, so likely it'll be this type. And originally in the Mediterranean, it was in a place called Grasse, a town in France, was known on the principal supply of Jasmine absolute. But due to the high production costs, moved it to Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, and India. So the thing is, Jasmine is a very high, it's a lot of high productions to get it. They have to get the flower and they have to actually do it. The process of it is really complex, and that's why it's such an expensive essential oil. But the last one for the type was J. sambac, and it's native to South India again, but it's also known as Mogra. And now I have this type, and it's from Perfect Potions, which is from Australia. It's a company with a guy who called Salvatore Battaglia, and he's also wrote the essential oil aromatherapy book. And this actual jasmine is very strong. It's very, I'd probably say it's more stronger feminine wise than the other, which is from Neal's Yard. But I prefer this one from Perfect Potion as and in my own personal scent, which is used for the end with one of the 8 ingredients used for my Venusian oil. And that won't be for ever sale. It'll be something I'm going to be working on in the next 2 years or year or so. But it's very important, and I use it for a lot of my spiritual work. Use it in my incense, a lot of my work, to also do meditation and so forth. So the other thing with jasmine, it has a reputation to being an aphrodisiac. So I'm going to explain some of the sacred symbolism of this. So purity and divine love, and in many cultures, India, Middle East, and Mediterranean, jasmine flowers are associated with the purity of the heart and spiritual love. Okay. And then there's also, it's linked to moon and feminine energy. So jasmine blooms at night, which is why it is linking it to the moon, the subconscious, intuition, and divine feminine energy. So this is why it's all ended up in being in the romantic side, and where they claim jasmine is more for as a feminine perfume or a feminine essential oil. It's also linked to union and marriage, used traditionally in garlands and ceremonies. Jasmine flowers represent sacred unions between soulmates and the divine connection. So the spiritual connection of jasmine is very important. Now, spiritually, energetically, it is linked to the heart and sacral chakras. Now, I would be honest with you, I would only use it for the heart chakra, not the sacral, because sacral is about connecting to others, which it could be if you're doing it on a romantic level, but I think from other people, generally not. I would say it's for more emotional relationships, dating as well. I would probably notice that more. I think that would be something I'd recommend, even very subtly, for a woman to go out in. It's just having a bit of jasmine dabbed on their wrists or the neck or the décolleté. So jasmine is often said to open the heart chakra. Again, the idea of opening and closing chakras doesn't exist. It's either underactive or overactive or balanced. So this is about the heart chakra is love, compassion, and soul connections, and it also awakens the sacral chakra, which is what they reckon is the creativity and life force. So I can understand the sacral, but I'll be honest with you, heart chakra I think would be better if that's an issue you have, if you feel that your heart chakra is blocked or it's underactive. Spiritual awakening is intoxicating aroma, is thought to dissolve emotional barriers and invite higher states of consciousness and deepen meditation. So if you use jasmine in meditation, especially if you're emotionally upset, it's actually very good to help invite that higher state of consciousness and to get into that mode of ideal of your tranquility within your head. Attracting blessings in folk magic, jasmine is used to offer in many offerings to invite abundance, and actually prophetic dreams, which is like the futuristic things of dreams to see in the future, and divine guidance. Now, traditions and traditional cultural beliefs, there's quite a lot, not just in Asia, but also in Middle Eastern mysticism. So in Hinduism and Indian traditions, jasmine, as it's also called, is called malika, or it's called, as we said earlier, Mogra, is sacred to Vishnu and Karma, the god of love. Now, karma, as we know, the word karma is linked to the word Kama Sutra. So Kama Sutra is love, sutra is positions. So love positions. Yeah. So that's why if you actually ever hear about the Kama Sutra, the idea of jasmine was used quite a lot in the idea of love making and so forth. Its garlands are used in temples and weddings to honor both divine and earthly love. So jasmine in India is still actually considered very highly regarded, and it's actually quite expensive in India too. You can't get it very cheap in India. So it's, unlike, patchouli and whatever I spoke about before. In Chinese symbolism, it represents feminine kindness, and it represents that the idea of the jasmine flower or so forth, beauty and grace. And jasmine tea is drunk for clarity and serenity. So you will see generally people will have green tea during the day in China. But jasmine tea is usually when someone wants to relax in the evening, they will drink jasmine tea. If they want to do writing or they want to do anything creative, jasmine tea is drunk very slowly. It's actually, to be honest, jasmine tea is quite interesting because it's not used so much as say matcha tea or green tea, but jasmine tea has actually got very high idea of clarity and serenity. And it's actually useful once you've actually eaten any sort of Asian food is to have jasmine tea because what it does, it also helps trying to clear and get rid of this heaviness sometimes because you kind of want clarity after you've eaten. Yeah. Middle Eastern mysticism is jasmine perfumes and oils we use to anoint, purify, and prepare the mind for prayer or union with the divine. So again, you will find that jasmine is used very much on not only feminine but also masculine ideas. So jasmine actually for Middle Eastern people is actually used quite for both. But I would say in Indian and Chinese, it's more seen as a feminine essential oil. Now, it's psychological and hypnotherapy links. So, confidence and self worth, jasmine oil helps dissolve fear, self doubt, and repression, and spiritually encourages authenticity and courage to live one's soul purpose. So, when you're working with a client, as mainly as I'm a hypnotherapist, I would actually teach someone a blend using jasmine. If they have like a fear or they repress or they need encouragement for courage, whatever they want to do, I would actually give them a blend of something. And jasmine would be used especially for people who I know who have gone through emotional issues to help them, encourage them to go back on go as a guide to their path. The healing trauma of love and trust, it aids in releasing old wounds, especially those tied to intimacy, rejection, or betrayal, or restoring openness to love. Because so many people in relationships is they're so tied to their ex or tied to their previous relationship, and then they're fearful about opening new relationships. And that fear they haven't got rid of. So jasmine is very useful, especially in meditation, going to bed on as well to actually go working with a dream state, because with that, it opens it up and then with also prophetic dreams, you can start seeing who you want to be with, who you want to see, right? So I think Jasmine has a lot of good things. And again, dream work, known for enhancing lucid dreaming and dream recall, Jasmine reconnects the consciousness with the unconscious mind. So Jasmine to me is one I would always recommend. So for practical ritual use, it's meditation and prayer, a few drops in a diffuser to invite clarity and heart expansion. Now, Jasmine is not cheap. So I would always say that you always need something with grounds, which would be frankincense or myrrh. And then you would look at something in the middle. So that would be either juniper or we'd look at or like something like juniper or a pine, like could be cedar wood, could be tea tree, something like that. And then as a top node, you'd be looking at a higher frequency, which would be the citrus, but I would say jasmine would help with that. So jasmine really, if you did like a few drops in a diffuser, I would say do 4 of frankincense. I would do 3 of cedarwood and maybe 1 of jasmine. And just to balance that, because jasmine is very strong, but it's also just to guide it. And then when you feel you need more, do so. But I would say don't overuse jasmine. Some people overuse jasmine and it's actually very strong and it can actually be quite overwhelming for the body and energetically and spiritually. The other thing that jasmine is known for is anointing. So applied, and you have to dilute it, right? So it has to be diluted to the heart or sacral chakra before rituals of love, creativity, or healing. So what we would look at is with the heart chakra or sacral chakra. Again, I prefer more the heart chakra, but I think if you're in a relationship actually on the sacral chakra, it would be quite beneficial is look at an oil which you can, with the dilution, is that you can put the sacral of jasmine in. So I would say jasmine works very well with certain things. So on if you're rubbing it in, make sure you don't have clothes on. Rosehip oil is great for that. Do not wear white clothing because rosehip oil will stain your clothing and it's very hard to get out. I think when you're looking at sacral, are looking at meadowfoam oil, almond oil. Again, if you've got nut allergy, you don't use almond oil, but any sort of oil which is quite light. Jojoba oil is quite good as well because that's also works with the skin, sebum of the skin. So if your oily skin or your skin gets quite doesn't dry out so quickly, jojoba oil is quite good. So jasmine, always learn what your skin type is and then work out what the carrot oil will sort that out. I will talk about carrot oils in another few weeks. But that's my recommendation. And for dream rituals, jasmine flowers under the pillow, oil diffused at night for spiritual insight. Now, another one you can do is that very similar to, which is cheaper version, is lily. But lily only comes through a certain amounts of times of the year. So so again, if you are interested in these ideas or you want to know more about them, and I'm going to start doing, I am looking at doing some talks and maybe teaching about these different essential oils in little PDFs, things for different topics like relationships, things for labor, birth, and pregnancy. Then I'm also going to talk about grief, birth, death, in empowerment and so forth. These will all be in little PDFs. But if you are interested, please contact me at info@richclark.net. And if you are interested in hypnotherapy or anything to help you with your blocks, emotional barriers, or so forth, please go to www.richclark.net. And until then, I shall speak to you soon.